The first time I was offered a chance to be vice president, I said no. George Bush came to me, this was late '99, early in his campaign, and wanted to know if I would run the campaign. I turned that down. I couldn't do that because I had a full-time job at Halliburton. Then I got a message through an emissary, would I agree to be considered for vice president? I said no, I didn't want the job. I'd never been a happy vice president. Then he called and asked me to help him find somebody, and I signed on for that. And we did the search, and when the search was all over with, I remember sitting on the back porch of his place down at Crawford. It was the 3rd of July, 2000. It was very hot. And after we'd had lunch with Laura, he and I went out on the back porch. We'd reviewed all the candidates, and he turned to me and he said, "You're the solution to my problem." And that's how I knew I'd failed as a headhunter. But I did decide to sign on because I had an opportunity, as we talked about, finding a candidate and what he was looking for and what his expectations were of the job, that he'd given a great deal of thought to having a vice president who would play a substantive role in his administration. You wouldn't do just funerals and fundraisers. And so when he put the wood to me, so to speak, I agreed to sign on. And it was a significant role in his administration. That's what he wanted. His background, governor of one of our biggest states, a lot of experience in education and health and taxes and so forth. But he hadn't spent any time in national security. I'd been on the Intel Committee. I'd been Secretary of Defense in wartime. I had all of those credentials that were a good fit for him, and it worked. He gave me a lot of opportunity, and I was significantly involved throughout the administration for 8 years. I was always glad I did it. If I look out around the world at potential threats, I think we're in a very dangerous time, and that maybe the most dangerous time really since the end of the Cold War. The problem we've got, obviously, is very significant when you look at what's happening in the Middle East. You look at the rise of ISIS. You look at the problem of terrorism, both here at home and overseas. The kind of actions and forces we need, for example, to deal with ISIS or other terrorist threats requires a strong military, to some extent an unconventional military. We need to spend a lot of time emphasizing our special operators, such as SEAL Team 6 or Delta. They play a major role. But we also need to be able to reinforce the notion that the United States has the military capability to take on all comers. And that's now, to some extent, in doubt because of what's happened to our military in recent years. So I think sort of the first priority going forward is to rebuild the military. Second, I think it's important that we recognize the nature of the threat. There are multiple threats out there. One of the places I really worry about is North Korea. The head of North Korea is totally unpredictable. He tested his first nuclear weapon in '06. He's since received state-of-the-art enrichment technology for enriching uranium, which will give him and has already given him significantly more capability in terms of producing nuclear material. He's working on ballistic missiles. And he also, sort of the ultimate sin was, as someone who has that capability, when he reached out to one of the world's worst terrorist-sponsored states, Syria, and built a nuclear reactor at Al-Kabar in the eastern Syrian desert, which we discovered in '07. The Israelis took it out in the fall of '07.